What up, Green Dog Podcast? It's just me, all alone on this one. And for this, I wanted to do a game breakdown for Miami against Indiana for tomorrow's national championship game. I'm trying to edit this and get it out today. Currently, we got the Pats on. I'm repping the Pats hard. But when it comes to the Natty, I'm the only one that picked this game right. I'm the only one that said Miami will be here and Indiana will be here. And who did I say about a month ago would win this? I picked Miami. I know that's crazy talk considering the spread's like 10.5, and how could Indiana lose this game? Let me lock you in. We're gonna go over this game breakdown. And I think when it comes, I'll start with Miami and their journey on how they got here. Because Indiana and Miami both kind of have similar journeys where they were really just two plays away from kind of having similar seasons. And if you don't believe me, look at Indiana. Indiana's 15-0. They were two plays away from having two losses. You had the knee scrape against Ohio State, could have been a loss. And then you have the toe tap escape at Penn State in the back of the end zone. So they easily could have two losses right now. And maybe they don't win the Big Ten. Maybe they're not even in and Oregon's in it. Then they had to go on that run like Miami has. In Miami, they went 10-2 in the regular season, and they were two plays away from an undefeated season. At the SMU game, they had that blown call on the interception, and then a diving pick with the chance to win against Louisville that ended that drive. You got two very different seasons that look very similar. And when we look at the quarterbacks, when you look at the stats, Carson Beck, he's got 3,500 yards. Fernando Mendoza, 33. And when you look at the stats, a lot of people hate that Mendoza won the Heisman. Oh, I mean, even Carson Beck has more passing yards. But Fernando Mendoza did all of this without playing the fourth quarter in most games. I mean, this Fernando's the reason why we know of his brother. His brother gets to play, Alberto, because Fernando's been so dominant in the regular season that he doesn't have to play the full game. And going back to Miami, since that second loss, they've completely changed their philosophy. They've become more aggressive. They stopped doing the conservative things. And I 1000% agree. Conservative play will cost you games. We've seen it time and time again. You want to play prevent. But don't be upset when the other team's driving, hitting dinks and dunks for 10, 15, 20 yards, 15, 15, bang, bang, bang. Next thing you know, first and goal, bang, touchdown, momentum swing. When you get them down, don't let them up. And Miami's decided we're going to be aggressive. We saw that against Pitt. We saw that against what's they play at the end of the year, Georgia Tech. They weren't they weren't settling. We saw that against Syracuse. They didn't settle. Pitt, they scored late again, and then they scored another time late to pad their stats to be like, look, we are that team that finishes games. It cost them against Georgia Tech 2 years ago. It cost them against Florida State because Florida State scores 19 at the end of the fourth quarter, and now that game looks close. You started playing, that way against Notre Dame, and Notre Dame comes back, ties the game, and you say, hold on, let me get situated again, and you march down and you score. The difference is Miami stopped putting all of the pressure and the weight on Carson Beck. They decided that Carson's gonna have to be a game manager. He can't be the savior of our team. He's gonna have to manage the game, and I need more out of my running backs. And so they've relied on Mark Fletcher and Lyle and Charmar Brown. And Fletcher specifically has carried the load and has carried the team. I mean, the things that running back has room. And hats off to the linemen. You always have to show love to them big guys up front. They've absolutely dominated and carried. I got my notes over here to the left. So what I'm going to do is look at my notes real quick. And yeah, it really was the last 6 weeks of the game that they've changed that. They changed their whole philosophy and just dominate in the trenches. That's been the big key for them. And when we talk about the linemen for them, they've got three dogs up front. Three dudes that will be draft picks that'll probably go in the top 1, 2, 3 rounds easily. Absolute monsters and behemoths. And when we look on the other side of Mendoza, because I want to talk about their offense, It's a very different offense. I want Mendoza to have the ball. I want him to make the decisions every play. I don't want him to be a game manager. I want him to be a difference maker. But with that comes the opposite when it comes to the running game. They've got two very serviceable running backs. I mean, they don't have the best running backs talent wise, but between Himby and Black, they're very serviceable. And on this last stretch in the playoff runs, they've used Black more than anything, and he's been very good. I hats off to them, but the wide receivers is what makes this team so great because you have Omar Cooper Jr. making the toe tap grab to win them and save them that perfect season. You have him as an absolute dog, and he's the one that gets the most love. But what's crazy is Surratt is a monster. He needs more love. I mean, he's shown in the playoff runs, I'm unguardable. You can't guard me. I'm a monster. And he's shown it time and time again. And against Oregon, it was Decker. That was Decker's game. So now they try to cover away the two wide receivers. We don't believe in the running backs because they're serviceable. But Decker went and had a game, and the reason why I got blown out of proportion is because Oregon turned the ball over 4 times. And with those 4 turnovers, Indiana capitalized on all 4 of them to the absolute most. They scored 7 points off of all 4 turnovers. 28 points was the difference. 28 points off of turnovers and short fields. And that was why the game got so ugly. And if you look at the Miami game, Miami absolutely dominated, but they found themselves trailing. Why? Well, because Trinidad threw you 4 picks and you dropped all of them. You catch those 4 picks and you capitalize. Well, that Miami Ole Miss game looks damn near the same as Indiana and Oregon. So, how different are these teams? We just saw Miami play one of its worst games since what? SMU? And SMU, they didn't even play that bad. The worst I think I've seen them play was against Louisville. And Louisville had a bye week. They had an extra week to prep for Miami. So they were over prepped for Miami and knew what to do. They had the trick play early on to take the lead and go up 14. Louisville hit them, and Miami didn't know what they really got stunned. With this, both teams have had 11 days to prepare, 11 days to get healthy, prep, get ready for this. And I think it'll show. I genuinely think it'll be a lower scoring game because of how defense have dominated the two teams are. Miami is led by their defense and running game. Miami will shorten the game and lose you possessions. And if you're Indiana and you fall behind 1 or 2 possessions, that's a scary thing to have on the other side because Indiana is more of that quick threat, the lightning strike. They will go methodical at times, but it'll be short passes, dinks, dunks. Let me hit a hitch, slant, get them out in yards. We'll do mesh concept, dump it down. I'll go for a second level throw. Fernando can make every throw in the game, and that's what's so scary about their offense is both of these teams are so polar opposite, but at the same time, has Indiana faced a defense as ferocious as Miami's? Yes, they went up against Ohio State's once, but we just saw what Miami could do against Ohio State. They absolutely manhandled them for 60 minutes. Miami never trailed against Ohio State. I think that's something that gets understated, especially when we're supposed to believe that Indiana's going to blow them out. I have a hard time believing in that. And when you look at the defensive side, Indiana's defense isn't overly talented. You don't have the 4 stars, the 5 stars. You don't have the first round pick. Mel Kiper says this is going to be the number 2 DB off of the board. Whatever. I don't even. I hate Mel Kiper. His takes are awful. But even then, if you don't get him to believe in you, why should I? That guy's super delusional. I don't believe in your D line. You're undersized, and one of your starters is out for the year. You've been able to get through it so far this season, and you've done very well, and it's been very successful the way you scheme it. But this is the biggest line you're going to come across. This is the most talented, most aggressive. You need Miami to be undisciplined like they were last game to give you more of an advantage. Now, at the same time, Indiana's defensive line is they've known for quick stunts, things like that. Miami communicates on the offensive line. You've got a veteran quarterback back there that's going to play in his third national championship game. He's lost 5 games in his entire career. He's like 46-5. Fernando lost more than 5 games last season. I I don't know if Indiana's come across such experience and strength and just dominance there. I think they might be the ones that get stunned early. Indiana's offensive line, they have talent. They do. They've got maybe 2 offensive linemen that'll be draft picks, but certainly not to the caliber of Miami's. They're not like, "Oh, that guy's going to the first round." They've got that transfer from Notre Dame, the guy that lost his job, and he's done a fantastic job for Indiana. He's been absolutely phenomenal for them. But at the same time, if you can't play at Notre Dame, could you play at Miami? If we put these 2 teams together, right? And we were making the best team out of all of them. How many offensive linemen for Indiana would make the start? I don't I don't think any of them would. And I know when it comes to the running backs, Indiana running backs would never see the field. Wide receiver wise, I think they have the advantage. And quarterback wise, Fernando's had the best season, but I can't give you the advantage over somebody who's in his third national championship game. Somebody who's one of the most decorated players in all of college football. I don't care if he won the Heisman. This guy has 3 natties. He's never lost a postseason game. He's lost 5 regular season games in his career. He's been here for like 9 years. Bro's like 80. He's like, it's so hard to do that. And defensively, in the trenches, Miami wins. You can't tell me that trenches don't matter in the biggest time of the game. When it comes to huge games like this, what really matters is trenches, defense, and coaching. And when we talk about Miami's defense, they are ferocious. They swarm the ball. They're aggressive. They hit and they hit. Pads popping. Love it all. Mesidor, you have Bain, you have Lightfoot. I mean, just the way they get after the ball and after the quarterback. That's something that's insane. And on the other side, Indiana's defense isn't they're not overly talented. They're not like Miami where it's talent, it's 4 or 5 stars, but they're so well prepared. The preparation that Indiana has is second to none. And you really can see that Nick Saban tree and that lineage because of how well they are. And that's why they turned over or they forced 4 turnovers against Oregon. That's why they've been so successful. They've won in close games and they've just kind of just score and score and score. And as soon as you, all right, pump me the ball, I score. They do the little things so well. Special teams matters to them. They do great special teams wise. They don't hurt themselves with penalties or stupid plays or taunting or targeting or anything like that. Whereas Miami will score a touchdown and then give you 15 yards doing a celebration. Miami will go second or third and 2 and false start. Miami will go first and 10, throw a deep ball for 30-yard completion, and it gets called back for a holding. Miami will beat themselves at times, and you saw that against Ole Miss. But we didn't see that against Texas A&M and M and Ohio State. So do I believe that that was a one-time hiccup, or do I believe that they are truly a more disciplined version of themselves? Indiana won't give you any free passes. I'm not going to run into the punter. You crazy? I'm not giving you that first down. Signetti would kill me. Whereas the other side, Miami, they're known for doing dumb shit like that. I think the best way to describe this matchup is for Indiana's side is Miami compares the most not to Ohio State, but to Penn State. Penn State was the more talented team and the more aggressive team. They had nothing to lose and they were ferocious. And they came out and scared the shit out of you. dominated. I shouldn't say dominated because they didn't dominate the game, but they were winning for a majority of the game. And Indiana had to come down to that last drive, march down, that toe tap to Omar Cooper for the win to escape out of Happy Valley. The difference between Miami and Penn State isn't the talent level, but it's the coaching. Penn State played you with no coach and scared the shit out of you and should have won. Mario Cristobal is one of the best coaches in all of college football. Penn State does not have a quarterback that can make a play in the clutch when it matters the most. Carson Beck has won 2 national championships. He's won the SEC. He's won damn near every single New Year's Six bowl game. You think that guy can make the plays? And if you don't, look at his last game. Look at the Notre Dame game. Countless times Carson Beck has driven his team down and won. He sealed the deal with Ohio State. Mark Fletcher helped. If I'm Indiana, I'm a little more scared than I am yapping. Now, for Indiana, I think the defensive scheme will be different than what Ole Miss came out with. Now, Ole Miss said, you might beat us, but Malachi Tony won't be the reason why. And I wish they would have just ran the ball. If you just run the ball, you dominate Ole Miss, but no, we wanted to pass. We wanted to prove we could win passing the ball for whatever reason. And what they did was they bracketed Malachi Tony, so they put 2 on him, and you left Marion 1-on-1. And he's one of the best route runners in the game, whether you want to believe me or not. Watch this film. You put him 1-on-1 on a comeback, on an out route, no. I'm leaving you with so much separation. And that's why Miami was able to sustain such long drives. When Miami shot themselves in the foot, 3rd and 8, there's a little out route, a little tandem out to Marion, boom, first down. Give me some time, deep crosser, Marion, bang. He was able to have his will because they were so focused on Tony. And then CJ Daniels is going deep, and they had them beat 4 or 5 separate times. The deep balls were so open. And I think 4 of them, there was pass interference, blatant, tackled before the ball came down, and it wasn't thrown for a flag. Over and over and over again. It was so bad. And I will give credit on one because it was really Tony's fault. He backpedaled, and he allowed the DB to get under the ball and make a play on the ball. And if Malachi Tony would have just stopped and played the ball, the DB would have ran through him and you could have drawn another pass interference. It's little details like that that's the difference in you either making the catch, getting 15 yards, or it just being incomplete. Now, if you do that against Indiana, Indiana will turn and make the play on the ball. The wide receivers will play through your body and make a play on the ball. I will make the referees throw the flag. That's the difference between the little details that win you the games or even win you a penalty, a flag, something to get you at least positive on a play. But that being said, those plays were open. Those plays were there. Miami went back on the run and boom, you were able to be successful. Miami's been able to run on everyone. Why would I not think that Indiana can't be run on? I think if Indiana wants to be the most successful it can be, you have to jump on Miami early. You got to jump on them early before Xavier Lucas gets in the game because when Lucas, the leader of that defense, gets on that field and starts calling out coverages in the second half, that'll be the difference in Miami. The defense will come out different. You need to go up at least 10, if not 17. And Miami will swing back in the second half, but I think at that point you can put it on ice. But Xavier Lucas being out in the first half needs to be taken full advantage of if you are Fernando Mendoza taken apart because they're going to put in a freshman back there. I believe Fitzgerald, the young man that decided to stay at Miami, and he made the pick against Texas A&M. I believe Fitzgerald would be the one that'll be playing there. It's either him or I want to say Lightfoot. And Lightfoot's been exceptional, especially in the playoffs. But in the game of such two different schemes, it's so hard for me to believe in an Indiana plus 8.5 or minus 8.5. I just don't see it. The way Miami holds onto the ball, goes on deep drives, time of possession's been what 40 minutes? They have the ball 2/3 of the time, keeping that defense fresh, wearing down your defense, your undersized defense. I don't see that being sustainable for Indiana. I think Indiana also has to go on long drives. I think the quick strikes would hurt them. Indiana's got to go on long drives, and defensively, you have to force Miami three and outs. You can't allow them to get going downhill. You can't allow Shane Dawson to start getting their bag. And if you're Miami, stop with the fucking trick plays. If you need it, pull it out. If you're down 10, screw it. Do a double reverse pass. I don't give a shit. But if it's 2nd and 2 and we're doing a flea flicker, this what are we doing? Run the damn ball. This is it's it'll be up to the coaching. It'll be up to coaching, the trenches, and the defense, and that'll be the difference in this game. And if you saw our brackets, you know who I'm rocking with. I'm rocking with the Canes, and I was the only one to pick Miami against Indiana as the national champion. So hopefully you guys are following along and followed my bracket because I would have made you a lot of money. But can't change up now. I won't change up now. And I do believe Miami is the more talented. I believe if they come disciplined, aggressive at home in Hard Rock Stadium, they will come out victorious. But if Indiana comes out ferocious, firing on all cylinders, and Miami has to put the hands in Carson Beck, and Carson Beck has to win them the game from the second quarter on, Indiana will blow them out. I've never been more sure that this game will either be an Indiana blowout or a Miami victory with them marching the ball down on like an 8-minute drive to seal the game. And it's like no in between. Like I don't see Indiana winning by like a field goal. And I could be silly. I could be just tripping. But comment below. Let me know what you think. My name is Hunter Malone. I've been here. I'm the college football savant with the Green Dog Podcast. Make for sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And follow us on all platforms, man. We're just a young podcast. This is year 2, so we're still a baby. We're still getting better. Trying to get more equipment. Right now, all I got is a giant whiteboard with all my notes. And on the other side's got all the videos on it. The YouTube channel is still growing. We don't really know how to grow the YouTube channel. We're still working on that. Algorithm wise, things that'll work better. But I think TikTok's been the most fun, the little videos. But